Hi, welcome back to class. And this week we are on Module 13. And so we are going to be looking at Arab Americans. And this is actually the last ethnic group that we're going to look at as individual groups in the class. And so this is a very large group of people. And so one thing I like to do is try to tie this in with a little bit of humor. And I normally used two clips, one from The Daily Show and then one from Amir Zahir, who's a comedian, on culture. What I'm going to do in this section, we're also going to add a documentary that looks at the fact that Arab Americans are left out of a lot of documents. So when you fill out census forms or applications for school and you check boxes for your ethnicity, oftentimes there is not a box for Arab Americans, and they, as a group of people, definitely feel that there should be a box for themselves because they don't feel that they belong with the other categories that are identified, white or Asian usually. And so there's a documentary discussing that also has some aspects of culture intertwined in it. So I want you to watch this with your sociological lens and have fun with it. I like using comedy where possible in looking at race and ethnicity because I think comedians usually often speak from an area of truth that most people are scared to touch on. And doing comedy is an art that allows people to freely express themselves and, have a good time doing it so we can have a little lighthearted discussion. We are also going to look at a community center in Omaha, Nebraska that has a tri-faith initiative. So it's a place where we have a Muslim, a Christian, and a Jewish community coming together to share some common grounds and work together. So I want you to analyze this, and you'll watch a Daily Show clip about it, and also have an opportunity to look at their website and get some more information. But geographically, it's something that's not too far away from us, and I think it ties the last chapter on Jewish Americans very well into this chapter. There is some good discussions on people getting along, and that's actually a really nice part of sociology to look at. When we look at race and ethnic relations, it's very easy to get caught up in negative stories and things that aren't so great, but it's also nice to look at examples of cooperation. And we've seen some of that in this semester. We watched the video on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, where you have the Italian neighborhood, where there's a great sense of cooperation with the business owners. But it's also nice to see the cooperation that goes on between other people as well. So I'll just move on and show you what we have to do this week. Of course, you're going to answer your questions. You're going to go through with your discussion from last week, and you're going to have your usual responses. So 3 on each day for each thread, so 6 responses. And then we have this documentary from Amir Zahir, who's a Palestinian comedian. And like I said, at first I used to just use a TED Talk he did that asked some really good questions, but he recently put out this documentary, and it's free to use, so we're going to use it in this class. Again, it's a little more lighthearted because he's a comedian, and I think that's okay. It's a lot more fun to look at things that make you laugh, and maybe you'll learn a lot more from it because it's pleasurable to watch. So the first question you're going to discuss is the problem with Arab Americans being excluded from the census. I just want you to write about a half page on this. And then I want you to discuss some of the cultural lessons in this film. What does he say is a little different about his culture than mainstream America or white America? Then we have this clip here from The Daily Show. So I want you to watch this. And here's a link to the Tri-Faith Initiative, which is that community center in Omaha that has these groups of people coming together. And there's a lot of information on here. You can look at the About section. There's the historic timeline. There's also a frequently asked questions section, which can help you with looking at your discussion question for this this section. But again, I want you to discuss what's going on here sociologically. So I want you to put on your sociology lens while you're answering this. The discussion forum, I have two questions. One is based on Amir's TED Talk, and this is pretty funny, but he asks a really serious question at the end. You know, at the end he says, "I love America, I really do. I just wish she would love me back." I want you to discuss what he means by this. And then, in looking at the Tri-Faith Initiative, I want you to put on your sociological lens and briefly explain the Tri-Faith Initiative and use the website and the video clip from The Daily Show to answer this question. And then we have, of course, the quiz for the week. So I'll go ahead and update the times for this. You know, that's obviously has to be changed. Next week, we are going to move on. We're getting towards the end of the semester, so we're going to have a couple of new things to look at. I'm adding a section to this class discussing hate groups and efforts for anti-racism. These are things that make the news, and so people don't have a full understanding about either. So people don't always understand what a hate group is, and there is a pretty large misunderstanding of what the anti-fascism or anti-racism groups are all about. So we're going to get into that and have a discussion on that as well. And I want you to have fun with your discussion. This will be a pretty lighthearted week. It's, as you can see, there's 3 comedy videos, so take time to enjoy them. Take some notes, and there's a lot of information to be gleaned from these. Next week, also, you're going to you have your intersectionality discussion you're doing now. I'm going to have 2 extra videos for you to watch that are going to take it a little further, and so they're going to maybe hit on some things that some people might be getting wrong with analyzing intersectionality. And so next week you can look forward to that as well. Well, I want to congratulate you guys. You guys are doing great, this semester. It looks like the class is having some good discussions, and I love reading your posts, and I'm seeing a lot of people discussing things from earlier discussions, and I'm asking some great questions. So I think you're doing a good job of building a sense of community. And like I said at the beginning of the class, it's very difficult sometimes in an online class to develop a sense of community, and it's nice seeing that. So I do a thank you, and I do appreciate your discussions. You're doing a great job, and want to give you a pat on the back for the hard work. So if you have any questions, make sure, of course, you get a hold of me, and I will answer them as fast as I can. Thank you.